Fans are starving for football, and that OTA buzz is as high as ever. But is it getting out of hand? J.J. Watt, arguably the best player in Texans franchise history, weighed in on some of the stuff going on, some of the viral videos. And did he defend the honor of the old Oilers / Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis? And what is J.J. Watt really saying? This is going to be an interesting conversation, very fun conversation to get into. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do.
Welcome to the Locker Room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 610. My name is Landry Locker. Download that Odyssey app and ride along. And we got an interesting discussion here because OTAs are upon us, which in the big scheme of things probably don't mean much. You're not really hitting each other. You're kind of just out there throwing the ball around. But fan excitement gets really high when OTAs are going on, whether it's the CJ Stroud to Nico Collins video that has all the Texans fans excited. You have some Texans fans begging for more content. You've seen highlight videos all over the place, and you've also seen lowlight videos all over the place, which is what combines the old football team in Houston, the Titans / old Oilers, and the Houston Texans, and arguably their best player in franchise history, J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt retired. Very intrigued to see what the great J.J. Watt is going to do post-retirement. He's hinted doing a podcast. He owns a soccer team. He's going to be the most interesting man off the field, just like he was one of the most interesting men on the field. And he weighed in on specifically some of the low light videos, and we've been seeing them making the rounds. And the Will Levis one was one that went viral. I had some fun with it. Some fans had some fun with it. And JJ Watt weighed in on just the reaction of some of these videos and some of the fan reactions that people have had or do have when these videos are put out there and reacted to by fans. So here's JJ Watt. Man, you can tell my man's got something important to say right there. Here's the great JJ Watt. I actually had a back and forth with him on this on Twitter. We'll get to that as well, but let's hear from the man himself. Here's JJ Watt weighing in on OTA reactions after bad videos.
Rookie has rough practice in his first week of OTAs. Yeah, that's called being a rookie. It's called first week of OTAs. I had rough practices every single year of my 12 years. I've had rough games. I've had multiple rough games. Like, shit's hard. It's the National Football League. Like, this is part of the reason why it's tough for guys to develop, because we're judging everybody on every single individual rep every single day. We're posting videos online of practice reps and guys working on their craft and guys trying to do new things. It's one of the reasons that guys are scared to try a new pass rush move in one-on-ones in practice, which is when you should be working on your pass rush moves, because they're scared that somebody's going to film it and put it online, and because they got blocked, now they look like an idiot. Like, let guys develop. Let guys grow. I understand this is a business. We're paid millions of dollars, and you expect greatness right out of the gate out of every single guy, and you're going to say, suck it up and deal with it. But let's let guys develop. Let's let guys get some practices under their belt. Let's let guys get into the league, and let's let them grow as a player. Let's let them get some NFL coaching. We don't need to be shitting all over guys on their first week of practice in the National Football League. Just let them grow.
All right, so that's JJ. Interesting angles there. Look, JJ Watt has an interesting perspective. He's also a compassionate guy, and I think JJ would be one of the utmost experts on maybe being dismissed a little bit too early as a player. So I can see that, but a couple of things there. First of all, if someone weighing in on a video is going to stop a player from developing, then I don't know what to really say about that player. That's a little bit wild. Second of all, it does work both ways. And one of JJ Watt's good friends, we'll get to that, but it does work both ways. And my question is this: if we're talking about Will Levis and we're talking about reacting to the practice video, what about when he posts on Instagram a picture of him throwing the ball 60 yards or 50 yards from his knee, and he gets all this awesome reaction and all this praise? Like, there's got to be some sort of balance there, right? And if a player is not going to work on something because of some social media stuff, or that's what halts the development, I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle to begin with. But I understand what JJ's saying. I understand his perspective. I am very intrigued to see JJ Watt after football and what he's going to be like. There are some guys who become, get off my lawn guy. That take right there was probably more, excuse me, sir, you're on my grass guy. Because I don't think it's that serious. I think fans get excited. They're starving. Hell, go look at the comments on the Nico Collins, CJ Stroud video. Or we'll hear Pat McAfee and see Pat McAfee's reaction to Anthony Richardson. And we'll get a look at that. But I'm very intrigued to see what JJ Watt, what he develops into as, he starts probably doing some form of broadcasting, et cetera. But I don't think, I mean, it does work both ways on this. And I actually brought this up to JJ on Twitter, and I've always loved JJ. I think everyone loves JJ. I just said, I get it, but it works both ways. Fans get hyped by highlights too. See the McAfee watching AR-15 the other day. Nico Collins from Stroud highlight had folks here pumped. Hell, videos of you flipping tires and doing box jumps used to break the internet. He said, trust me, I'm well aware of the fact that people being so interested is the reason we get the contracts we do. I love people getting hyped for guys. Maybe not crowning Hall of Fames and rookie OTAs, haha. Just don't love tearing guys down week one in their first ever OTAs. And I can feel them on that. And I think there's always a good balance, and I think it's a healthy balance to address. And I'm very intrigued to see what JJ Watt has to say about this. Speaking of which, let's just watch this, because I think this is, as much as I'm sure JJ Watt, who was, let's be honest, JJ Watt was dismissed way too early in his career as, someone who was booed, etc. Let's just show the example of one of the best guys in media right now and how he treats it. Because JJ's saying, don't condemn these guys. What about crowning them? Look at McAfee. This is Pat McAfee on his show. This is Pat McAfee reacting to Anthony Richardson doing a drill. And I'm just going to give you an example of a guy who just signed a 5-year, $85 million contract. And I think there's a reason that Pat McAfee is so successful at this. And we'll get into that in a sec as we talk about players' point of views, et cetera. And it is the Locker Room. Subscribe, like, appreciate everyone for coming through. Shout out to everyone joining me on a Saturday. But look at this reaction from Pat McAfee and his squad of Anthony Richardson.
Oh, you're right. He's still in the squad.
Oh, there's Richardson.
Here we go. Frog with a great snap. Shout out Frog. Coming through.
Look how big he
Settle
is.
yourself.
He's huge.
Huge.
Yeah, pretty athletic too.
Yeah.
Let's fucking hit it, pal.
Will Levis?
Yeah.
No.
Let's
Wow.
go.
There's
Yep.
the guy.
Let's go.
That's the guy.
Yep. Yep.
Fucking yup! We got a guy!
You got the guy.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you kidding me, dude?
Holy shit.
Undefeated for sure.
We got the guy.
Yeah.
And McAfee's obviously having some fun with it. But it's fun for fans to be able to do these things. It's fun. There's got to be a balance. And I'm never going to be the, hey, they make millions of dollars. They should put up with whatever comes their way. I would die to have that kind of job. I'm not that guy. I'm never going to be that guy. I can promise you that will never happen. But I do think there is some sort of like balance with this. And as much as JJ has the compassion and all that type of stuff for the guy, there does need to be a certain amount of mental toughness because that's part of the reason that they get paid. Now, they don't have to put up with stupid crap. They shouldn't have to put up with half the stuff they put up on on social media. And media types fans, there should be a balance between having fun and being critical, and then the balance. 100%. There should be. But, if we're talking about just a reaction from an OTA video for Will Levis, and the other thing is it's Will Levis. This is Will Levis, who's one of those, he's really active on social media. And I would actually say, if we're talking about J.J. Watt's point of view, J.J. Watt has a really unique point of view and a really unique experience to where he can contribute to so much to stuff like this and kind of balance it out. And he's a very balanced, well-rounded dude. So I think he does. But it's really not that serious. It's an OTA video. Like if the coaching staff can't get across to a player, hey, this is just an OTA video, it doesn't matter. Hey, you still got to work on your stuff. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Because I saw more good than bad. I mean, there's certain things that will be thrown out there. Hell, the Deshaun Watson video was thrown out there. I saw the Baker Mayfield and stuff. That happens. But there is some balancing. Hell, I remember J.J. Watt flipping tires. You remember the 1,000-pound tire flip? How pumped did you used to get about that? And what the hell did that mean? It didn't mean a damn thing at all. And the thing about media and the player's point of view, and the one thing that I think social media has done is social media has made it to where the jock sniffing, and there still is some jock sniffing that goes on with certain people, but the jock sniffing, it's more limited because you see these athletes all the time. And when you get back in the day, there was a time where people were like, oh, he's a former player. Let's just bow down and listen to what he has to say. That's not the case anymore. And the one thing that I don't like that some players do, and I think they're the ones that aren't very good, whether it's on the radio, whether it's on TV, et cetera, is they separate themselves from everyone and they don't give their point of view. They act as if they're giving the player's point of view. JJ didn't do that. JJ just expressed his opinion. But as he transitions into media, and we've had some guys on the air and they'll say, well, from the player's point of view, one person from a football locker room cannot speak for all players. It's impossible. It's one of the most diverse places that you could possibly be. So all players do not think alike. So whenever an NFL player comes in and they're talking, a former player, and they're saying, well, from a player's point of view, not from your point of view. That's the beauty of it. Individuality. That's the good thing about social media. That's why when someone comes on social media, that like my trigger word for even a fan is we. Who's we? Because you're just speaking for one person. It's an individual thing. That's the beauty of it. It's your page. Who's we? On Sports Radio 610, sometimes we'll get people who say, well, all those people at 610, they say this. What? I've never had the same opinion as any of those guys. From the morning show to the afternoon show to my show, I don't want their opinions, and they damn sure don't want mine. So generalizations are the real problem, but the player's point of view is valuable when it's individualized. When it's generalized, that's when you got to kind of roll your eyes and say, who does this guy think he is speaking for all players? JJ didn't do that. And I'm very intrigued to see what JJ does, because I think what's made Pat McAfee so successful is the fact that he balances that experience, but he also kind of understands the fan big time, to the point where he is a fan. He's a sports stooge, as he says. And there's a reason why people gravitate towards that, because it's relatable, it's likable, and it's authentic. And it's not generalized and it's not simplified, which is something that JJ Watt doesn't do. The interesting thing to see from JJ Watt as he progresses and weighs in on a lot more things and stuff is, and this is a huge advantage that JJ Watt has over any other athlete. And I'd love to see him broadcast. I think he'd be elite at it. I just don't know if that's something. I think he has so much respect for it that he wouldn't half-ass it. But whether it's a podcast or whatever, I think he can really, really be good. And the thing I love most about JJ is that JJ Watt is a guy who, if you just look at him, not only as a player, but as a person, he just grew so much. And that's what athletes should do. And I think that's kind of what JJ Watt is saying, whether it's as a player, whether it's as a person. Like, you watch these guys develop, you understand where you were when you were in your early 20s, and you assume that the best is yet to come. But JJ was an all-time great. He was crapped on early, so he probably has a soft spot too as well. And that's kind of where he's coming from. I mean, he was booed, he was questioned, he was called a pizza boy, all that type of stuff. So he's probably got a soft spot in his heart for rookies getting dismissed early, especially for petty reasons. So that's a perspective. He's compassionate, and he's very social media savvy. So he does know, like when he's talking about this Will Levis thing, he knows what it feels like. He knows that it can be overcome. And he knows he's been on there a lot. Let's be honest. JJ was pretty active on social media, still is. I'm sure that was something that he kind of had to balance. But he's very social media savvy, so he knows how cruel it can be, especially for a young guy. So this was a good, this was a good video from JJ Watt. And it's all about his perspective. He understands what's going on. And he knows the balance, and it's going to be fun to see what greatest player in franchise history ends up doing. I very much enjoy hearing what JJ Watt has to say, but let's be honest, I enjoy these hype OTA videos, just like y'all. It's not the end all be all, but I like to see. I want Will Levis to do bad. I know that sounds bad. I want Will Levis to do bad. He was drafted with the Texans pick, and he was a quarterback that they passed on. And let's be honest. He was throwing passes on one knee trying to get the internet hype. So it works the other way. And heck, if he leans on guys like JJ and he looks back at, JJ Watt's path, then maybe he can use it as motivation. And hopefully he possesses the balance to where he realizes it's not the end all be all, whether he's getting praised or whether he's getting crapped on in OTAs. Sometimes we make too much of it. Sometimes it gets too simplified. But the good thing about the internet, the good thing about social media, the good thing about football is people care, people are excited. There's a balance. There's a lot of opinions, and there's a lot to talk about. So I'm going to ask you the question, OTA buzz, too much, too little, not enough. Subscribe, put it in the comments. I'm going to the Boots for Troops tonight. I'm going to see country-ass Damian Pierce. I think I'll be at his table. I'll try to ask him a couple questions, bring that to you as well. Be back on the air on Monday from 10 to 2. We're going to have some more stuff to talk about. Download the Odyssey app right along. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Shout out to JJ Watt. Always good to get JJ Watt's perspective, and always good to see some OTA highlights. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty excited about those. Subscribe right along. No matter what happens when it comes to the Texans, when it comes to this game, we're all in this together. Have a good weekend.
Angles what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not 2. Plugged in daily digital.